Hello, Professor Jason Morgan here, showing you some fun with Blackboard and weighted grading and all sorts of fun stuff. First thing is, I came into this, I got to this page right here by just going to Grade Center and clicking on that little arrow, and it brought me over here. I've already moved over a bunch of stuff, but I want to have them be in certain categories, and there's certain categories I want them to be in. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, I need to make sure which column I want to be is my external grade. Now, for whatever reason, I just defaulted to weighted total, but I want it to be this one here. So I can just hit the chevron button and set that as the external grade. Okay, and I'll show you. Some more fun stuff here. So that's now my external grade. So now I need to manage my categories. So if I go up here and I manage categories, so these are the weighted categories that I want to have. Okay, so I've got all sorts of stuff, and I got stuff just got put wherever when I transferred this over. Okay, but the categories I want are actually these. And I like to put the percentages in the names of the categories just to kind of, extra information when I'm putting everything together. Okay, so what I need to do is create some categories, or I could rename some, but I'm just going to go ahead and create some categories. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy the name of the category that I want to do here. Okay, copy that. Alrighty, and then I'm going to create category, and I'm just going to put it there, and I'm going to hit submit. And now I have a new category, general assignments 20, but there's nothing assigned to it, which we'll get to in a second. Now I'm going to pause the video and create the rest of these categories, okay? So just, you don't have to watch me do that. All right, so I've created all those categories, and I also, just under the description, I added fall 2025, because that's when I'm doing it for this. This happens when I'm re-recording this. And that's also, I can tell which columns I want to use because they have the percentages after it. And it puts these in alphabetical order. That's why they're not all combined. So they're like, okay, they're over here. Okay, well, you're like, well, gee whiz, that was neat. Now, what do you do with that information? So I'm going to hit OK. So all we did there is just create the columns we wanted to have. Okay, but now what do we do with it? Well, we're going to go to the course average thing that we're going to be doing here. Okay, and we're going to click on the chevron, and we're going to go to edit column information. Okay, and then this is where we would actually set up the selected columns and how much they're going to be. Okay, so which categories do I want to have? Well, I want that one, and that one, and that one, and that one, and that one. And how do I know I want them? Because they have the percentages. Look at that. Look at that. See, that's why it's, whatever. Okay. But then I have to go over here to the selected column, like, okay, but how much, what's the percentage of it? Oh, well, it's right there. So I'm just going to click that to 20. That's 10. And you'll see the total weight kind of change as I add these. 10, 15, 10, 20, 15, and then when I click out of that, boom, 100%. Again, you can do some more things like as far as dropping grades and whatever, but right now I'm just creating the categories themselves. So now I've got the selected columns that I want, that I'm going to be, and what they're going to be weighted. Okay, fantastic. So now I'm going to hit submit. Okay. So that's fantastic, but now what does that even mean? I've got all these assignments. How do they go where they're going to be going? Well, that's where we get to have more fun again, where we're going to go to manage, and we're going to go to column organization. Okay. And now we can see here's all my assignments. Okay. So I've got them done like this, and you can sort these by due date, by names, whatever. Okay, but you can see which categories stuff is in. It's like, wait a minute, these aren't the categories that I want. These aren't the droids I'm looking for. What the heck? Okay, so how am I going to fix that? Well, let's just say that I know that the quizzes all fall under tests. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight anything that is a quiz. Okay. Actually, what am I assignment? What am I? Yeah. Hold on a second. We gotta scroll all the way to the bottom. Change category to, that would fall under general assignments. That's right. So these quizzes fall under general assignments. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay. So, so I'm going to just highlight the ones that I want to be general assignments. Okay. Why is that out of order? Boo, shame on you. Go back up where it should be. Okay, there you go. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pause the video and click all the ones I want to be general assignments. All right, so I have checked all the ones I want to become general assignments, and that's the majority of them. Because when I look at my categories, I've got general assignments, but I have some that are very particular, like the narrative essay. That's like one assignment. That's one thing. The remix assignment, that's like 2 columns. The source chart's 1 column. Stuff like that. Okay, so most of these are just general assignments. So that now that I've highlighted all those, what I can do is go to the very bottom down here and change category to general assignments, and then hit submit. Very important to hit submit. Okay, and then it does things. So now let's go back to manage, column organization. Oh, isn't that a beautiful thing? Now the enrollment verification quiz, that's an ungraded thing that they have to do. But now I can kind of just go through and say, okay, what am I missing here? So, okay, the narrative assignment. Okay, so the narrative assignment, I'll just go down here and find that one. Change that to the narrative essay. Aha. Again, hit submit. Very important. Okay, so basically, it seems a little laborious, but column organization. So again, I'm just going through and I'm making sure that everything is going to be okay. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video again and set everything up the way that it should be. All right, so now I have moved everything over to where it's supposed to be. Like the narrative essay has its own category. The remix, these are part of the same thing. Source chart. So it's just a good way for me to double check that everything has to be. Now again, I do a midterm extra credit and I do a final extra credit that don't go into a category because I manually do stuff with that. I'm not going to necessarily explain that at this point in time. And also the enrollment verification quiz. And by the way, if you're wondering what these magic word quizzes are, so the beginning, so this is an online class. At the beginning of every week, I create a video that walks the students through what we're supposed to be doing for the week. And to ensure that they watch the video, because so they don't email me with questions with I've answered in the video, I put in somewhere in the video I say a magic word, and then they actually get a quiz on that, and it counts towards part of the grade. But you can see it's a very small percentage, but it is part of the grade, and it's amazing. People actually watch the videos and do the assignments correctly, and they get points by doing the magic word. Anyway, so another thing while we're here is what I like to do is so this English course average. That's the one that we're going to be doing. So I'm going to move that above the frozen line. And also the last access. Actually, I'm going to do that one after their names. Okay. And what that means, so when I hit submit here, so that freezes these things right here. So as I scroll through this, I can always see their last name, their first name, the last time they were accessed to class, and their grade. But as I scroll through this, these are all the different assignments that we're doing. And again, the order they are in here in your category in this list mirror what are here. Okay, so the order that you have them in here is the way that they show up over here. Now I've got some stuff that I don't necessarily want. Okay, like I've got this weighted total. I don't really need this anymore. I think I can just delete this column. Yeah, because these are basically doing the same thing. So I just delete that column because that's just confusing. Okay, but everything should be set up now. So again, that's just how we do it. A couple of different things. So again, the trick is to set the weightings. You go to whatever column you want to have, and you edit the column information. Again, that shows how the things are weighted. Okay, that's that one thing. And then if you want to play with the column organization, that's going to happen here. You go into here, column organization, and you can do all sorts of stuff, move stuff around, and you can also double check to make sure the due dates are correct, and stuff like that. So anyway, that's just a kind of a helpful little trick to make sure that your gradebook is set up correctly and stuff goes where it's supposed to go. All right. Thank you so very much.